Hello and welcome to Blockchain Gaming World with me, John Jordan. So the 2023 is over, we're into 2024, so a good opportunity to look back at what happened in 2023 in terms of on-chain activity for some of the best-known blockchain games. I guess we can set this up by thinking about, what would we expect to see? And I guess we'd expect to see in 2023 was a pretty difficult year for most of the year. So it wasn't a lot going on in terms of sort of successful launches or anything like that when it came to games. In terms of crypto prices, Bitcoin and ETH actually sort of did okay from the start of the year upwards, but for a lot of the other sort of tokens associated with games, they actually sort of hit they got to their low point in sort of the summer, maybe early autumn of 2023. So from that sort of context, we'd expect to see sort of a decline from throughout 2023, and then an uptick in the last quarter. Obviously, in the last quarter, at the end of October, we saw this sort of sudden increase in Bitcoin prices, and that was linked into some people feeling a bit more happy about sort of macroeconomic activity and interest rates potentially going down and inflation going down. So that's sort of what we would expect to see. And in fact, in this graph, it's sort of what we see. So I've got 4 graphs, all looking at slightly different aspects of the sector. Data as ever from that radar. And this is obviously 2023. So we've got 4 games here. And 2 of them I talk about a lot, have done in the past. So Alien Worlds in blue and Splinterlands in red. They have been for a number of years now the most popular blockchain games. They are very on-chain. They're not quite fully on-chain, but they're sort of quite heavily on-chain sort of games. Alien Worlds is sort of a fully on-chain game actually. So we expect to see lots of on-chain activity. This is looking at the number of daily active wallets. So that's how this graph is constructed, and we can see sort of the start of 2023, Alien Worlds had about just under 200,000 daily active unique wallets, and Splinterlands about 150,000. So sort of pretty decent sizes, but not massive compared to Web 2 games. And the other sort of aspect that these sort of fully on-chain games always sort of suffer from is bots, so automated accounts. Because there's the way these games operate is they're sort of fairly simple in terms of what a wallet might be doing. So we would expect to see a bunch of bots in there. And in fact, as the year went on, and these games sort of declined. So if we look now at the end of the year, so Alien Worlds is down to sort of 60, maybe 70,000. So that's come down quite considerably, almost 2/3. And Splinterlands is down to also under sort of 50,000. So again, similarly down to under 2/3. So they've lost sort of 2/3 of their audience. And we can see pretty sort of steady declines there. And some of that is to do with people not playing. Some of it, I think, is to do with both those games have put in anti-bot measures. So they're trying not to give away their rewards to bots in various ways. And that has discouraged people running bots. And also, as I sort of said, the token prices for both those have declined during the year. Picked up a little bit towards the end of the year, but token prices for Alien Worlds and Splinterlands have been sort of heavily down. So all those things sort of discourage human players and discourage bots. And so, given that these games have been out for a number of years as well, there's just sort of general churn going on there. So we can see, in a sense, that's what we would sort of maybe expect at this stage. Farmer's World is in green. I don't talk about that very much because it's generally seen as a game that is sort of not really operated by its developers anymore, and it's a bit of a zombie game. But it still has 50,000 daily active unique wallets. I guess the best way of looking at that is it is a sort of a way of looking at, are people just sort of are people playing these games, or are bots playing these games, which don't really have much sort of it's not being developed in any way at the moment. So it's sort of it's interesting to see. It sort of goes up and down quite a lot. Ended the year down compared to where it started the year, but there was a sort of a big uptick there. And the most interesting line here is Pixels, which is the yellow line. So that was a game that was sort of running on Polygon. Has been around for a number of years in terms of having a sort of NFT land out there and stuff, but fairly small community. And then it announced it was going on the Ronin blockchain, so the Sky Mavis' blockchain on which they run the Axie Infinity games and a few other things. And that launched at the start of November, and we can see very very quickly it grew very quickly. Very quickly, it grew very quickly. So now it is sort of still growing, still in that growth phase. So over 100,000 daily active unique wallets. Again, they have said they know they have problems with bots. Maybe half of their audience is bots, and they're going through the same process that people like Alien Worlds and Splinterlands went through to try and make sure that bots are not claiming rewards. That's the main problem people have. Bots, I think if you have bots in the game, that's sort of a measure of success, because people don't put bots into games that aren't successful. But what you want to make sure is bots are not claiming rewards that you want to go to players. So that's the sort of the key problem you have. But just in general, if we just treat these lines as as sort of metaphors for success, I suppose we can just see Pixels very quickly after its launch became the most popular blockchain game in terms of this daily on-chain wallet activity, and as Alien Worlds has sort of reduced, then sort of Pixels, not only is it sort of steady at over 100,000, it's still sort of growing, so up to 130,000. So we'll see how much it grows. It's a very social game, so we can think there's a community building around that, and we can expect to see growth continue, I think, in 2024. So these are the most popular blockchain games, at least sort of at some point throughout the year, and it's interesting to look at the trajectories that they have. Some of the older games maybe struggling a little bit for various reasons, but new games launching and doing quite well. Again, still fairly small numbers. If we think of all these as players, real life people, which they're not, but it's 100,000, 150,000 sort of people playing games every day. We know in the Web 2 world there are some games with tens of millions of people playing every day. So a fraction of that. And I guess, as we saw in 2021, where Axie did 3 million, I think it peaked at 3 million daily active unique users. That's sort of what some people are looking for in 2024. And obviously, we wouldn't necessarily see that in terms of on-chain activity, but I think we'd expect this time next year to be looking at much higher numbers in terms of some of these projects. So what should we look at next? What I've called less popular blockchain games in 2023. So these are games that I think are interesting just to look at. That as we can see the numbers here. Previously, these were numbers. The scale of the graph was hundreds of thousands of daily active unique wallets. Here we're looking at tens of thousands, so a maximum here of 40,000. So these are much smaller projects. They're interesting to look at though, because they've been going for a while and have some sort of I think these are sort of proper, developed games, well operated games from sort of serious companies, and it's interesting to see how are they doing in this environment. So Axie Infinity in red at the bottom, it has grown during the year, and it has grown by 50%, but it's still very small potatoes really. 15,000 daily active unique wallets. I mean, it peaked up here at almost 30 for one day, so there are some peaks going on there, but in general growth, but Axie Infinity is not coming back to having the million daily active unique wallets that it once had, and I don't think anyone would expect it's going to get back to that level. Maybe the best they can think they get back to 50,000 a day. We'll see. They're putting a lot of time, putting a lot of work into a lot of features going in there, but I think maybe that boat has sort of just set for the time being. And we can see growth, but nothing spectacular. In blue, Uplands. This is a mobile game using sort of a version of EOS. They've been building out loads of stuff, but we can see here, 20,000, 25,000 daily active unique wallets is pretty much their level throughout the year. Hasn't really changed, and so maybe that's something again we expect during the year, a year where not much happened. It's going to launch a token on Ethereum, so maybe in 2024 we'll get a bit of a boost, bit more liquidity flowing in there. But again, we can, it's not. I don't think it's again something going to have 1 million users. And a game here in yellow, again, Nine Chronicles is sort of the success story of this graph, although, it's gone from 20,000 up to about 40,000. This is actually looking at, it's a bit more confusing because Nine Chronicles, there's actually two versions of the game. One called Nine Chronicles, the original game came out in 2021. There's also a new version called Nine Chronicles M. That works on its own blockchain. So each version of this game has its own custom blockchain. And that radar is not producing data for Nine Chronicles M, which is the new version of the game on the new blockchain. So all we're seeing here is the original game. We can see when Nine Chronicles M launched in November, there does seem to be some sort of uptick. Maybe people re-engaging with Nine Chronicles, or people starting playing that version of the game. But we're not really seeing Nine Chronicles M here, which I think they're saying combined at the moment they've got about 100,000 daily active unique wallets, but that's not showing on that radar. That's what the developer is saying. So again, sort of a success story, and we could think maybe this is a success story of roughly in the same order of magnitude as Pixels. So you can download Nine Chronicles M from the app stores, and you can play it. It's idle RPG, so fairly lightweight to sort of play. There's a lot of blockchain stuff in there if you want to get into it on the PC version. So you can play it across mobile and PC. Same different clients, but the same game account. If you see what I mean. So I can play the game. My account is set up for mobile and also for PC. You can do different things in those apps, but again, 100,000 is not a million. And again, is this game going to build to a million? Well, obviously, it sort of could. So it has NFTs, it has tokens, and I guess that's, if we think we're going to go into a bit more of a bull market in 2024, then we start to think about, are people going to get excited to make money in these games? These games are not set up to make money; they're not played to earn games in that way. But if there's opportunity to make money, then obviously you can expect a bit more virality, a bit more sort of uplift, maybe a bit more volatility. A lot of people pile in, a lot of people pile out again, like we saw with Acti. So we'll see. But it is good to see at least some games that are sort of proper games are sort of building an audience and have, Nine Chronicles has gone from about 20,000 maybe up to about 100,000 if you combine the Nine Chronicles M. So that's a 5 times increase. Okay, 2 more graphs to look at. These are less clear cut. So I put in here popular blockchain games, inverted commas. So if you look at that radar and look at its games category, it's got a lot of sort of weird stuff in there, or a lot of stuff in there that I don't normally look at, because these are not really traditional games, which is sort of fine. We wouldn't necessarily expect all blockchain games to be traditional games. That's not a crossover we would expect to see. So it's worth looking at this data, although you can see the data is sort of quite messy. But you can also see this sort of general phenomenon in 2023 that a lot of stuff launched towards the end of the year and sort of did quite well, but it sort of goes up and down. It's not very clear if this is going to be sustained. These are more viral games. These are more sort of viral gaming experiences where you might expect a lot of sort of people piling in, maybe a bit more play to earn, maybe a bit more focused on crypto rewards of various kinds. And we'll see lots of that in 2024. Lots of some of those will be sort of outright scams. Some of those will be just designed to be more viral and more about rewarding players rather than sort of maintaining players through a sort of a traditional gaming experience. That's just what's going to happen. So let's just break this out a little bit. So Sweatcoin in green here, launched throughout the year. So actually did pretty well. It's a move to earn app, really. It's not a game, so you have it on your phone, you walk around, you get rewarded with their token. They did have a little mini game in there at one point. It seemed to have taken that out recently, but it just gives you sort of some idea of growth. So it started off very low here, and then it has these very kind of high peaks. Not quite sure why it has these peaks. These are normally peaks like this are normally showing people sort of going for rewards being granted or something like that. But even if you take these spikes out, it's over 100,000 and has grown, sort of doubled throughout the last sort of few months. So there's that. There's this Moto Dex, which is again not really a game, very light as a game. It's sort of more about a Dex, more about sort of thinking about sort of the value of tokens. Runs on various blockchains. It's hard to see in yellow, but it's doing about 100,000 daily active unique wallets. Again, not really a sort of a game, but launched in September and very quickly grew this sort of audience. Again, probably a lot of bots in there. This is called Battle Left, Center, Right on the BNB blockchain. This sort of orange here. Again, it's a sort of a gambling sort of focused app. There is a game element. It has a sort of trading card game element to it, but it's much more about sort of head-to-head sort of zero sum winning. So sort of like a wagering game. So a head-to-head game where someone wins and someone loses. But again, it's over 100,000. Game if fly, the blue one here, some very high peaking here, so getting up for 200,000 daily active unique wallets. It is they're calling it an esports. It's actually the game in there at the moment is a very sort of hyper casual version of cricket for the Indian market. They're hoping to do other sports as well. Again, it is a sort of highly volatile community based play to earn type experience, and we'd expect to see a lot of volatility there. Up and down, as you can see, and then Play Ember, hard to see in red here. This is more like a sort of hyper casual platform. So we expect to see all these sort of things, these sort of single use experiences like Sweatcoin, where you just walking around, and then these sort of more platform plays like Play Ember. And then these very volatile games where it's sort of a bit of a hot potato, where, you know, if you're getting early, a bit like meme coin, maybe some of these, if you get in early, you might get some cool rewards because it's a slight Ponzi sort of handover of resources. So that's what's happening with those. I just put this into one to show some of these, highlight some of these products, and also sort of show the levels of support they're getting. You know, not massively more really than sort of, you know, this is 100,000, 150,000. So these are not massively more popular than, say, Pixels at the moment. We'll see how that changes in 2024. And the final graph is I just put this in because it's all interesting. And these are the most popular games on Flow. Flow is a blockchain. I just chose these. These are all from the same company. So they actually have loads of these games in a series called Blitz. So these are all mobile games. Trick Shot Blitz, Carom Blitz, Solitaire Blitz. They've got a Darts Blitz. They've got some other card games. There's about half a dozen of these Blitz games. One obviously thing to see here is the graph for Carom Blitz, and this is every week. You see basically that it goes down to 0, and then one day during the week you get this massive spike. This is basically a token reward this is reflective of a weekly token reward drop. So basically, people are playing the game, you know, during the week, and then at some point they log in, and their wallet is picked up by that radar, you know, claiming something. So this is sort of something we would sort of see more of, you know, potentially in 2024, where people just sort of, you know, playing a game and then getting token rewards, and you get this sort of very high spike. But it's very hard to know how many people are actually playing. This would be, I imagine, highly botted. But again, we can see it's 100,000, so it's not nothing. And some more sort of game type games, Trick Shot Blitz, a sort of pool game, you know, still doing sort of 25,000 up to sort of 50,000 dailies. Again, volatility as people are claiming tokens, so they all have the sort of the same sort of idea in these Blitz games. And Solitaire Blitz was obviously a solitaire game. Did actually really well back in September, but it's dropped right down. So just to show sort of some different sort of ways in which wallets and people interact with these games. So in general, 2023, you know, it wasn't a great year for blockchain gaming in terms of blockchain games going live and doing great audiences. The two games I think I would highlight in that sort of circumstance are Pixels and Nine Chronicles. There were obviously lots of other blockchain games that went live. I mean, I guess NFL Rivals being sort of one popular one on a mobile game, but not really very on-chain, so not really getting picked up in the data there. Running on its own sort of Mythos blockchain as well. So there's lots of this is only sort of one subset of the sort of types of games running on blockchain, but just because of the volatility and the visibility you have on on-chain activity, it's sort of good to look through this. So I think 2023 we can sort of, you know, a sort of a year where people were building, and I guess we'll see the results of that in 2024, but not a year where much was highlighted or many sort of trends could be looked at in terms of on-chain activity. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. See you again next year.